It is time that we had a talk. A real talk.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Real Talk. In this video we're going to be talking about Fallen Order 2 in a similar way that we did to Battlefront 3. We're going to be talking about things that I think are must-sees, things that I would like to see and hope to see for Fallen Order 2. And before I get into the video, I just want to let you guys know that we do have a Discord. The link will be in the description. I hope that you join it and join us as we build a community together. Also, all the gameplay recorded in this video is me during my playthrough of Grandmaster. So I'd like to begin by talking about the potential story for Fallen Order 2. In the original Fallen Order, Cal discovers a Jedi holocron consisting of a list of Force-sensitive children that he and Seer believe could be used to rebuild the Jedi Order. However, the game ends with Cal making the realization that if he gathers the Force-sensitive children together, it would make it for easy pickings for the Empire should they be discovered. Cal decides it's best for these children to be left to forge their own paths and discover their destinies for themselves. This leaves the plot for Fallen Order 2 very open, as Fallen Order ended with a clean break. No cliffhangers to work with or theories to formulate based off of the ending. In my opinion, I think the story of Fallen Order and Cal Kestis was perfect, and I don't even think the game needed a sequel. But based off the success of Fallen Order 1, a sequel is in the works and has been in development for a while now, and is expected to be released either fall of 2022 or later release date of 2023 through EA and Respawn. I know that the fall 2022 was the original release date plan, but it seems like things are going to be taking longer than expected, and 2023 is a more realistic timeline that I think we should expect. Aside from that, we actually know very little about it. Aside from the timeline, we know it takes place after Fallen Order 1, we know it takes place before A New Hope and before Rogue One, and will likely be a part of the early Rebellion movement. That being said, there are a few characters in this timeline that we could realistically see make an appearance in Fallen Order 2. So I don't have an entire plot written out here, but I have a few ideas that I think could make for some interesting plot points. I think it's realistic to expect a Rogue One type of story for Fallen Order 2. Cal and his crew go on an adventure or two fighting against the Empire before being noticed by an early rebellion that's in its early stages of being formed. An unexpected visit by Ahsoka Tano, maybe an hour or two early in the game, would generate a lot of excitement as she recruits you to their cause. Ashley Eckstein has revealed that she hasn't actually done any recording for the game, but she would be up for it if she was asked to. So Cal's crew would be labeled as a new and individual cell in the rebellion, receiving their own codename and missions. I could see this game drawing a lot of parallels from Star Wars Rebels, and I think it would be very cool to see some cameos from the original Star Wars Rebels Ghost crew themselves. And speaking of that, we know Cal and Kanan were very similar in age when Order 66 happened. So at the time of Fallen Order 2, Kanan would be 17 or 18 years old. He and Cal would have a lot in common and could very realistically be good companions, and I think it would be possible that Kanan could even end up being a main character for the game. In Star Wars Rebels, Kanan is in his late 20s, making him a little too old to cameo with the Ghost crew. But we also don't know for sure what age he was when he joined forces with Hera Syndulla. I mean, maybe we do, I'm not sure, I couldn't find it, but if you know, please let me know in the comments. Anyways, I don't realistically expect Kanan to make an appearance in this game or be in it. I just think that it would be really cool, and it would actually work out really well timeline-wise. But back to what I was saying about Fallen Order 2 being a Rogue One style story. I could see Cal and his crew spending the game working towards some kind of grand mission. Fallen Order 1 felt a little bit more random. Cal goes to this planet and he finds a thing, and then he goes to another planet and then he learns a thing, and it just seems like it's all happening without much of a plan until later in the game. I think Fallen Order 2 will be different. Cal will be more confident, and the crew will be more solid and informed before making decisions. Perhaps the Rebellion will need something from them for their grand mission and send them off to other worlds to find somebody or something that aids in their endgame plan. I could see Saw Gerrera being a big player in Fallen Order 2, as he was very active in the Rebellion at this time. In terms of characters from Fallen Order 1 continuing into Fallen Order 2, I think it's possible, but it's not a guarantee. Because of how well Fallen Order wrapped up, there really isn't much loose ends to tie up in terms of character arcs or development. But that being said, I think that it would be absolutely insane for them not to use Cal again as the main character because of how well he was received and how quickly he became a fan favorite among Star Wars fans. My prediction is that Seer will reignite her Jedi beliefs, and become Cal's master, kind of like how Kanan became a reluctant master to Ezra, Star Wars Rebels. Fallen Order 2 will open with some training sessions between the two of them, and I think that will also serve as the game's tutorial. I would also like to see them do more with Merrin, the Night Sister, in Fallen Order 2, because I think that she was terribly underutilized in Fallen Order 1 for how cool of a character she was. Moving on, I think that we should talk about some other characters that could make an appearance in this game. I think that it would be possible for Chewbacca and Han Solo to make an appearance in this game. If they did, I think that it would be some kind of side mission. I think that's very possible considering Cal's connection to the Wookiees and Kashyyyk. But it's possible Fallen Order takes place before Solo in the timeline, in which case this cameo is unlikely. Actually, we should take this time in the video to comment on the fact that we don't know when this game takes place yet. It might not actually take place directly after Fallen Order 1. There could be a 5 or even 10-year time jump where we play as a more mature and confident Cal Kestis, maybe in his mid to late 20s. Depending on where we are in the timeline of this game is really going to impact who we see and what the major plot points are. Lastly, in regards to possible characters, I should point out that Grogu being in Fallen Order 2 is very possible, but I think that it's unlikely. Grogu would be relatively the same age and appearance and probably have the same level of maturity as he did in Mandalorian if he were to make an appearance in Fallen Order 2. But I'm having a hard time thinking of a connection between him and Cal. Themes of rebuilding the Jedi Order are something that ties Luke, Grogu, and Cal Kestis together, but Luke only comes in to get Grogu after the Empire is defeated. So a Grogu-Cal connection is very possible, but I would say unlikely. Since I'm running closely with the early Rebellion storyline, I think a very possible villain could be a high-ranking Imperial officer, like Thrawn. Or hell, maybe even Thrawn himself. While it's possible for us to see Darth Maul in this time, I feel it's unlikely he'll be the main villain. Maybe a possible side villain and boss fight for one mission where you bump into him on a planet where you both happen to be searching for something valuable for different reasons. Darth Vader and Palpatine are also potential villains, but I just think they're too large for our crew to deal with in Fallen Order 2. Appearances and cutscenes at best, maybe pulling strings from the background. If we do bump into a big dog villain, it will be handled similar to Fallen Order 1 with Vader. Some interactions, and at best the fights will end in a draw, but ultimately can't end in a victory for Cal if the villain plays too large a role in Star Wars at another time. This makes seeing a familiar face as a final boss or enemy a double-edged sword. While it would be fun to bump heads with a villain that we already know and love, I would rather get to know a new villain in the game and defeat them at the end, or at the very least set them up for an epic sequel. The Inquisitors played a very large role in Fallen Order 1, so I would 100% be expecting some new Inquisitors in Fallen Order 2, and for them to play a role very similar. 2 or 3 of them will show up as boss fights throughout the game. I don't think the final boss will be an Inquisitor again like in Fallen Order 1 because that would just straight up be too unoriginal. While the Inquisitors are very cool, I would be really bored to see them play the exact same role again in Fallen Order 2. It just wouldn't really be that exciting. Let's move on to world building. I don't have much to say on this subject, but I feel like I should include this in the video. I hope that we get some fantastic new worlds like we did in Fallen Order 1. 1 or 2 similar planets, but mostly new worlds to explore. I will say, however, that by the time I beat Fallen Order 1, I wished I'd had more worlds to explore. That being said, I hope Fallen Order 2 has double or even triple the planets. I didn't like in Fallen Order 1 having to revisit the same planet 3 times and having to fight the same enemies and cover the same ground over and over again. Me personally, I would like to thoroughly explore the depths of a planet one time and move on. It drove me nuts how long some of the planets were in Fallen Order 1, and I don't want a repeat of that, especially considering how confusing some of the maps would get at your second or third time exploring the same planet. Not to mention that there wasn't a fast traveling mechanic in the game, so you ended up covering the same ground quite a bit. I found myself quite often in Fallen Order impatiently bringing up the map, trying to find my way back to the Mantis, just desperately hoping that I bump into an elevator soon at some point. I really don't want a replay of that in Fallen Order 2, so if they are going to do something similar, at least give us a fast travel mechanic to make that less time consuming and frustrating. Now let's move on to the next section of the video, combat mechanics. For a brand new game, Fallen Order's combat system was pretty fun. I don't have a ton of complaints about it other than the force abilities felt kind of stiff at times, and I felt the parrying system needed a bit of work. I played through the game once on Jedi Master difficulty and then again on Grand Master, and both times I felt the timing of the parrying system was too slow. Cal lifts his lightsaber to a guard position, incredibly slow in my opinion. In reference, I think of Sekiro, which did parrying perfectly for a similar combat style. Maybe parries work better on easier difficulties where the timing window is bigger. That in itself isn't great design in my opinion. How close your window has to be for a perfect parry shouldn't matter based on what difficulty you chose at the beginning of the game. You either time it right or you don't. Do away with the window completely in my opinion. If you can't parry, focus on blocking and evading. Parrying shouldn't vary depending on difficulty. Then again, I am a large From Software fan and that does influence my opinion here. Another thing that I think was a cool mechanic but was really underutilized was Cal's ability to break his lightsabers in two. In Fallen Order 1, it was used for quick attack combos, but it would be really cool if you could just leave them separated and dual wield them, similar to how you could choose to leave your double-sided blades out. Also, I'd like to mention, I think that the health and stamina systems were really well done in Fallen Order 1, and that should be continued in the next game. A couple upgrades I'd like to see, however, in Fallen Order 2 would be that the stims would not be so freaking hidden. I had to Google where most of them were my first time playing through and found areas of the game that I didn't even know existed. Your stim upgrades should be presented to you in a more obvious way as you progress through the game, or should be something that you can buy and upgrade through level XP in the health branch of your skill tree, which is a really excellent transition to my next subject, skill trees. I think that the skill tree was a great idea and worked perfectly for leveling up. The XP system was very similar to a Souls game, and it worked really well in Fallen Order. What I didn't like about Fallen Order was that the skill tree really didn't allow for much individuality. Everyone who finishes the game finishes with a similar tree. Force ability, lightsaber skill, and health are all really important in the game, and everyone puts points into all of them, and it doesn't really impact your character or your playing style very much. In Fallen Order 2, I hope every playthrough is different for everybody depending on what kind of build they make for Cal Kestis. If you want a Jedi who can use different force abilities, you have to unlock them, but they wouldn't be necessary for completing the game. If there was a puzzle that required the force, it would glow, like in LEGO Star Wars, and you would use the force to do that thing. The only force abilities that you actually used for puzzles in Fallen Order 1 was your force pull and force push, sometimes force stasis. So this really isn't that different, it just simplifies the system by combining them all into one button. If you wanted to use a lightsaber heavy Jedi, you could put all your upgrade points into lightsaber skills and not worry about force abilities at all. Or you could be a mix. You would have total control over your playing style. I have two different skill tree ideas. The first one would be the one most similar to the original Fallen Order. There would be three branches, one for force abilities, the second for lightsaber skills, and the third for Cal's upgrades. But there would be little differences within the upgrades themselves and the branches. So for force abilities, it wouldn't just be upgrading your force stamina or how powerful your force ability is. It would be a variety of different force abilities and your upgrades for them. And the right side of the tree where Cal's upgrades would just include more different types of upgrades. So you would have your health, you would also have your force stamina there, you'd have your regular lightsaber stamina, and we'd also have some new things in there like Cal's acrobatic abilities or his resistance to different environments and stuff like that. So that first option is basically the same skill tree from the first game, just upgraded, new abilities added, upgrades moved around to different places, so you could kind of customize Cal's playthrough a little bit differently and your playing style would be a little bit more unique to you than in the original game. My second force tree idea is a little bit more of an original idea, and I think this one is a lot more exciting and sounds a lot more fun to me. So the first branch of the tree would again be a force ability branch, but then there would also be a branch for all the different lightsaber forms as well. You could put points in multiple different branches and be generally good at everything and a little bit skilled at all the different lightsaber forms, or you could double down on one branch and just be an expert at that style. Each branch of the skill tree would have its own technique that would reflect its style. For example, Cal's overhead chop would be in the Form 5 branch, and his deflecting blaster fire while running ability would be unlocked in the Form 3 branch. I understand that this would be a nightmare to develop, but I think it's a fun idea. I really hope the level design is drastically improved in Fallen Order 2. I really felt that some of the enemy placements and checkpoints were really poorly designed in Fallen Order 1. Save points felt either way too close together or way too far apart. Some parts of the game felt like freaking gauntlets if you died, and you felt extremely punished if you did, often having to redo entire zones over and over again before the next one. And I'm a Dark Souls fan. I like a hard challenge. I like dying 1,000 times before progression. But there's a difference between a difficult challenge and just bad level design. The loading screen in Fallen Order was horrendously long if you did die, so a lot of certain areas or boss fights just felt incredibly frustrating. I was playing on the PS4, so I understand PC users probably had a shorter loading screen, but still, it was just horrible, especially if you had a long stretch ahead of you between your current save and your objective. Also, if we could just do away with those scenes where Cal is like sneaking through a crevice in the wall, just make it a cutscene. Don't make me sit there and hold my analog stick forward for 10 to 15 seconds and watch an animation happen, giving me the illusion that I'm in control. Especially if it was right after a checkpoint in an area where you've died a lot. It's cool to go through it the first time, but by your 4th and 5th time, it gets very old. In my opinion, I just think they should just do away with them completely. So, moving on, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of customizability. I love making your character feel unique, and I love cosmetics. That being said, I felt that the poncho game was cool and unique to Fallen Order, but I do not want any more ponchos in Fallen Order 2. It would be cool if we could customize Cal's pants, shirt, gloves, footgear, etc. Give us the option of Jedi robes and allow us to have the hood up if we want to. Or let us have barefoot, bareback, monk style Cal Kestis if we want. The ponchos were fun, but I think they can do better in Fallen Order 2. I think that the paint customization for BD1 and the Mantis was awesome. As long as they continue, I will be happy in that department. I have similar feelings to the lightsaber customization. It was a lot of fun, and I hope that they improve and expand on that function in Fallen Order 2. The Mantis was a perfect little hub for Cal between missions in Fallen Order 1, but in Fallen Order 2, I hope it's more of a home base where you have room to move around in. Maybe a wardrobe you can click on to change outfits, and walls you can display previously built lightsabers on, as well as collectibles you find along the game. And now I'm going to go off script a little bit here and just say that I feel like Star Wars fans have always wanted a game where they feel like that they are the Jedi, and it feels truly unique to them and who they are. And if we have Cal Kestis, I hope that they just let him be customizable to the point where everybody feels like they have a unique playing style and experience. And honestly, I wouldn't even be that upset if Cal wasn't in Fallen Order 2, because as I said earlier, I think that they told his story perfectly, and they just let us make our own character for Fallen Order 2. They just let us completely customize a character, from start to finish, from facial aesthetics to build and size, like completely build a character, and then we could totally customize our unique individual Jedi the way that we want them to be, and play as them and upgrade them and experience things with them throughout the game. Now, I don't know if Fallen Order 2 is the game for that. Maybe we'll get a new game where we can do that, but I just really hope that we get that experience at some point. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for this video. I have certainly talked enough, but I would love to know what you guys think. If you want to leave a comment in the comment section about what you'd like to see, what you think could be improved for Fallen Order 2, anything you got, any kind of theories, whatever you got, just drop it in the comment section, or better yet, join the Discord. We have a link in the description for our Discord, and in that Discord we have a Fallen Order 2 channel, and I am hoping to generate a lot of discussion where we can all share ideas and communicate and talk together about what we hope to see in Fallen Order 2. So if you're not in the Discord yet, I really encourage you to join it, because we're going to be having some really active discussions there, as well as news and updates for Fallen Order 2 that I'm not going to communicate on this channel, because this channel isn't really a news channel. I just like to talk about stuff. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the Discord. Subscribe, stay tuned for more content, and may the Force be with you.